Hello, I am Deepak Gupta at PatentYogi with weekly patent news, a show that provides quick updates on the recent activity in the patent world. A few weeks back we covered the news of the launch of United for Patent Reform. Last week, the organization hired the lobbying firms Elmendorf Ryan and Fierce Government Relations to push for patent reform legislation on Capitol Hill. The organization wants to bring down patent trolls and push legislation to make that happen through Congress. President of the National Retail Federation, Matthew Shea said, although the courts can alter their understanding or interpretation of the patent laws, only Congress has the authority to change the law. Now is the time for them to do so. A division within the Republican congressional majority is now threatening bipartisan patent reform, with some conservative critics warning that it amounts to a secret Obama gift to Google. The latest criticism came from Ken Blackwell, in a letter to 75 conservative leaders, which said, the #1 corporate cheerleader for patent reform has been Google. Let's not forget how close the Obama administration is to Google. There has practically been a revolving door between the company and the White House. You should be worried about the administration and Congress acting so aggressively to overhaul the patent system to advance the financial interests of Google and others. Last week we covered the news about fall of Pfizer sales due to patent expirations. Eli Lilly also released its fourth quarter financials. Again, the earnings took a beating due to patent expirations. Lilly's chairman, John Lechleit, said, while the results continue to reflect the impact of patent expirations, we are moving to a period of growth, led by diabetes, oncology and animal health. The company lowered revenue forecast for 2015 to $19.5 billion to $20 billion, from the previous forecast $20.3 billion to $20.8 billion. RPX gave details in a regulatory filing of its purchase of a portfolio of 4,000 patent assets from Rockstar Consortium late last year. Rockstar was set up by Apple, Microsoft, Ericsson and Sony. According to the filing, Rockstar was paid $900 million in cash, with $35 million coming directly from RPX itself, and the remainder from a group of more than 30 companies. In return for their contribution, members will receive non-exclusive licenses to the patents. USPTO is upgrading their website. They debuted the first phase this week. Future phases will improve transactional sites, including sections for filing for trademark registrations and paying the patent fees. Also, USPTO is helping establish patent pro bono programs across the country to enable low-income inventors to prosecute their patents. Last year, Apple amassed more intellectual property related to television, which indicates their future plans to disrupt the television market. USPTO granted Apple 2003 utility patents in 2014. That's a 13% increase over 2013. The steady increase in patents comes as Apple is doubling down on research and development, pouring $6 billion into its labs in 2014. Moving on to the courtroom section. London-based AstraZeneca sued Indian-based Glenmark Pharmaceuticals for seeking the United States FDA approval to sell a generic version of the breast cancer drug Faslodex. The patent infringement complaint seeks a court order blocking Glenmark from selling a copy before 4 patents expire in 2021. AstraZeneca filed a similar lawsuit in September against Sagent Pharmaceuticals, which sought to introduce a generic version of Faslodex. Marathon Patent Group, a patent licensing company, announced that a subsidiary Selene Communication Technologies entered into settlement and license agreement with AlertLogic for 2 patent assets. The 377 patent is currently being asserted against EMC, Thomson Reuters, and Reed Elsevier. The 444 patent is currently being asserted against EMC, Trend Micro, and Fluke. It is time for the international news. Patent boxes are one of several tax avoidance tools that came under scrutiny as the European Union cracked down on divergent revenue schemes last year. Koopman, the European Commission official in charge of the unit overseeing several tax probes, said last week that the EU won't pursue a probe into Patent Box, as their hands are tied by a 2008 decision to approve a Patent Box tax break in Spain. This decision gives a boost to drug and technology companies that generate revenue from patents. Hong Kong and Korea signed an MOU on cooperation in the field of intellectual property, such as exchange of information and experience, personnel training, promotion of IP trading and commercialization, as well as joint organization of seminars and conferences. United States has been scaling up pressure on India to adopt intellectual property measures similar to those common in the United States and the European Union. But can India, the pharmacy of the world, resolve the friction between pharmaceutical patents and access to affordable medicines without putting off foreign investors? While Indian and American business moguls are bullish about the future, Indian generic drug makers, as well as health activists within and outside India, are deeply anxious about the shape of things to come. India has improved its rank marginally on the Intellectual Property Index released by the United States Chamber of Commerce. The index has moved India to the second last place, from the rock bottom in its ranking order last year. This year, the annual IP index ranked a total of 30 countries, on a series of indicators reflecting their IP environment. This marginal improvement was mainly attributed to the Indian government's decision to revise the preferential market access policy and exempt private sector from the requirement to procure from domestic manufacturers. China set up intellectual property courts at Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou late last year. Recently, the Supreme Court released the provisional regulations on several issues concerning the participation of technical investigators in intellectual property court proceedings. Technical investigators are introduced into court proceedings in an effort to help judges resolve technical issues. Xiaomi, the hot Chinese firm, wants to move into 10 new markets, including India, Brazil, Russia and Mexico. However, the big risk for Xiaomi is that it keeps running into companies with far more patents who want to sue. For example, Xiaomi was sued by Ericsson in the Delhi High Court recently. The court blocked all sales of Xiaomi phones in India before partially lifting the ban. Xiaomi founder Lei Jun needs to get Xiaomi's patents in order. Xiaomi applied for 2,318 patents in 2014, and Lei plans to get tens of thousands more in the coming years. This week Samsung was granted a design patent for a new smartphone with top-side pop-up feature, with dual rounded side edges. The pop-up may expose a miniature lens, a second camera for a 3D shot, a flash unit, or an antenna for satellite reception. Thanks for liking and sharing the video. Please subscribe to our channel by clicking the big red button to receive updates on new videos published every week. If you are viewing this on a mobile device, please find the subscription link in the description below. Until next time, keep innovating and keep patenting.